You're watching the Sporting Time Show with host Doug Thompson. Sponsored by Jewelry Barn and Pawn Shop.
Good evening and welcome to the Sporting Time Show. It is good to be back. Sorry we missed you last week, but the snow got us last week, but not this week. Glad to be back and also glad to have my guest host, Brian Davis, in studio with me. Brian, how are you?
It's good. 5 times.
5 times? You
Five
counted?
times. Five times.
Okay, so that
Fab
is
five.
that's a record. That's a record.
Fab 5.
That's amazing. So welcome back.
Yep.
You know, one of the things that you and I didn't discuss during your 4 previous appearances, and I think we talked about it after last show that we did together, but you are the voice of the Franklin Simpson Wildcats.
Not the voice.
Not the voice? Are you doing play-by-play?
I'm doing play-by-play, but
You're the voice then.
no. I mean, that was in the past for legends like that. I'm not a legend. I'm just having fun. Doing the game, stuff like that and so forth. You don't call me the hype guy or the loud guy, the pop culture guy or whatever, anything like that. That's fine. But there's legends that's done this before me that they're the voice.
But do you
I'm just
enjoy
there
it?
having fun.
Do you enjoy doing the
Having a great
play-by-play?
time. Having a great time. They love my 3-point calls, or people are just like, man, you're really into it, don't you? Like, well, the games are exciting.
Right.
I mean, do you want me to be like lull and
Right.
boring? No, I'm gonna be excited. I
So
mean,
did you
it's a great
listen
game.
to any play-by-play people before you started it? Did you try?
No.
You just
No.
did your own thing.
Do my own thing.
All right. So we're going to get great insight to the Franklin Simpson Wildcat teams. You and I are going to kind of talk a little bit.
And District 2 as well, if you want to.
And sure, we can do
yeah.
that. 13th district overall, but you know, let's talk a little bit about girls basketball as we get ready for a big show. We've got a great guest today, William Unseld, the head coach of the Warren Central boys basketball team, will be joining me here in a few minutes. But you know, on the girls side of it, you know, going into this season, the talk was about Bowling Green, and they certainly are on top of the fourth region right now, 10-3. But Franklin Simpson girls, nobody really was talking about them going into the season. But Brian, they have really panned out early on to be a team to talk about.
Okay. Well, first off, it goes to their depth. They're the deepest team in the region. Coach Taylor has 15 to 16 players she plays pretty much per game. Majority of the time, 12 to 13,
Yeah.
sometimes a little more. But she has one returning senior. She has a couple of juniors, one sophomore, and then a super freshman class that is fast. She does the full court press. They'll pressure you on the ball. I mean, this team is fun to watch, and they are fast. They are fast.
It'll be fun to see when they start to play some of the 14th district teams. Of course, Bowling Green, same kind of thing. They have plenty of depth. They have senior leadership, but they're still a team that returned most of their starters from last year. They're 11-3 on the season. Franklin Simpson 8-2. But then you look at Barron County, 9-4. Barron County has not lost to a fourth region team yet with the 4 losses that they have had. And of course, Coach Lindsay, you know that she's going to be in the mix.
Coach Lindsay, Coach Piper is a great coach. She is a great coach. And I mean, yes, Barron County. We said this from the beginning, even at the media day, Doug, at the Sporting Times media day. We said it's Bowling Green, and then who else can step up there and possibly knock them off their throne? We mentioned Barron County. We mentioned Greenwood. We mentioned Franklin Simpson. I mean, those right now are the 3 teams right now that can possibly, we'll see in another couple months, at Diddle Arena, which, by the way, all the games are back at Diddle Arena, according to a tweet by Coach Decker. So I'm glad that's going to be happening. But we will see if those 3 teams, well, only 2 of them get to play, though, because remember, it's the 13, 14, 15, 16 bracket set up. So only 2 will get a shot at Bowling Green to knock them off there in the region tournament of those 3 teams.
We got 45 seconds. Now, we haven't talked about Logan County. They've played 18 games this season versus 10. I mean, it's all over the board because of some cancellations. But this is a team that has lost 3 straight, 2 by 1 point, 1 by 3 points. Just a couple seconds left. Logan County is a team we got to keep our eye on.
Yes, Coach D has them. Coach D Adler, I call Coach D, plays. Her team's playing great defense. scoring lull at times, but if they can get that worked up and fixed by the time we get to late February, March, Logan County could be a dangerous team to watch out for.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Well, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Coach William Unseld will join us right here on WNKY NBC 40. Stay tuned. More of the Sporting Time Show in just a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Well, as promised, my guest today is the head coach of the Warren Central Dragons boys basketball team, William Unseld. Coach, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
You know, I told you before we started today that I saw an old video online of when I was interviewing you on another station, and it was your first year.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to see. You haven't changed a bit, man. 11 years?
11 years.
Now
Long
me,
time.
I looked at mine.
Oh, no, I've changed. I've changed. I'm eating well, I'll tell you that
Well,
much.
you know, that's part of it. So, you know, part of the segment when I talk to you, I usually ask the question of guests, why, what got you involved in basketball, or why did you choose that sport? Well, I really know why you chose that sport, because are you 6'5"?
6'8".
Okay, you're 6'8". So basketball was always kind of something that you went towards.
It is. In high school, college, played a little bit professionally overseas. Came home and started working, and then actually got into coaching by coaching. Abraham Williams got me coaching a housing authority team one summer. Kind of got the bug then.
Is that right?
And then coached at the middle school for Coach Riley the year they won the state. And then he brought me up to the high school that next year, and it's all it's been since then.
So going back to your high school days, how tall were you in high school? Were you?
And I grew. It was crazy. I started out about 6 foot my freshman year.
Really?
My sophomore year I was 6'4". My junior year I was 6'8". So I grew.
Which for high school still today, you don't see the big guys. I mean, and I'm gonna talk to you about the Bannon days. But so you were big man on campus then?
Not really. You know, I tell people this all the time. So when I played back in the 90s at Central, I mean, everybody had kids my size.
Really?
Oh, yeah, everybody. Allen County, the Metcalf counties. I mean, everybody. We all had something. On my team, it was 3 of us, you know, between 6'6" and 6'8". You know, all those teams, Franklin had a lot of size. I mean, everybody had size back then. So I tell kids, I say, y'all got it easy. I think my senior year in the 4th region, I think we had 7 Division I basketball players.
Is that right?
In the 4th region, just in the 4th region.
So was the game back when you played, was it more of a post down low?
Oh, yeah, more traditional.
Yeah.
It was more traditional. You know, the game's a lot different now. Everybody spaces out and try to drive it or shoot it. I mean, you know, it's different. It's changed. But it was more traditional back then. You either had 1 or 2 posts, and you just played that way, inside out. You know, 3-point line was fairly new, so I'm aging myself a little bit. I'm dating myself there. But it was, you know, some teams shot and some teams didn't. It was mostly you throw it inside, or, you know, the Franklin Simpsons back in that day, they ran up and down the floor with all those athletes. And, but most teams played inside, and you went from there. You started inside.
So when you stopped playing and you got into coaching, I mean, it was a bug, right? I mean,
it was.
You really enjoyed the coaching part of it.
Bring that competitive spirit back into you. You know, when all of a sudden you played all these years and all of a sudden you just stop. You miss that competitiveness.
Yeah.
So you get that back, and just helping kids and being around kids and then just the spirit of the game draws you back into it.
And you have had some unbelievable players that you have coached. I mean, great players. You know, and I'm sure every year is very different for you because you know you have a different set of kids coming in.
Yeah.
How is that?
Oh, it's great. Just, you know, you have all these different personalities, all these different kids, and we've had unbelievable kids at Warren Central. We've had not even just basketball, just kids. We've had unbelievable kids. So it's great. You know, you miss them when they leave, but then you have a new group coming in. So it's been great. I still have a great relationship with the kids my prior kids. A lot of them are still playing. Even the ones on it's crazy seeing them be young men. I still look at them as young men, but they're grown men now. You know.
Yeah, 11 years later.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
They're grown men, and just watch them develop, become great husbands, fathers, and
Right.
great people in the community. It's been fun, and like I said, I enjoy it. I love that part of it.
Yeah.
I've been doing it, I think 18 years overall. So it's been a long time.
Yeah, of course, like you said, you were assistant coach with Coach Riley
Yeah.
for a number of years. But you didn't pick up some of his bad habits, which I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about the Fant Bohannon days. You were there.
Yep.
I want to talk to you about coaching your son.
Okay.
Which I've covered many of coaches that have had son
Yeah.
or daughters that they have coached. And of course, we're going to talk about this fantastic team that you have this season. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, more with Coach Unseld right here on WNKY NBC 40. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Of course, Coach William Unseld is my guest today. I could talk to you for more than just a couple segments, but I got to ask you before we get to your current team. You were there during the Fant and Bohannon days when the gyms were overflowing. Fire marshals were telling people you can't come in anymore. Wasn't that an amazing time?
It was. I was just talking to somebody about this other day. I said, I'll never forget being in Diddle, one of those region championships, and we had a timeout during the game, and I just walked out on the floor and looked up. I was like, oh my God, it's packed in there. There wasn't an empty seat now.
It was.
I said, I'll never forget that. I just walked and just kind of lost myself in a moment. Timeout, Coach Riley was doing the thing in the timeout, and I just kind of looked up and it's like, oh man, you lose yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
It was an
Yeah.
unbelievable atmosphere. We had some unbelievable games.
Oh, it was.
Two talented guys, and both teams had a lot of other talented
Yeah.
pieces around them.
Yeah.
So it was great. That run was unbelievable.
It was amazing. And, you know, George Fant today, of course, is in the NFL. And I know he told me once that people always said to him, nah, you can't probably do that, right?
Right.
So he went, he ended up playing football at WKU. But why aren't they doing like a 30-30 on George Fant? I mean, what he did, his story is incredible.
You know what? I think it will be in time. I think his story has still been written.
Yeah.
George is an all-pro, Pro Bowl type of player now. You think about that. A guy who didn't play any in high school and played sparingly his fifth year at Western, changed position going into it, and look at him now. And that's all credit to him and the kid, the person he is. Even in high school, man, he was an unbelievable worker, easy to coach, and everybody in the building loved him. So it tells you what type of person he was.
Yeah.
Like I said, George was top 100 in the country. You never would have known it.
Yeah, and he's
a
still
humble
the same
guy.
today.
Yeah, humble as can be. Every time he see you, big old hug, grab you.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's credit to how he was raised, his parents, his family. But George is great, man. We love George, and George is representing Bowling Green and Warren County and Warren Central well.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. Now, I mentioned you're coaching your son, of course.
I am.
Back in those days, he was probably just a little guy.
Oh, yeah.
if that. But
He was.
I've interviewed probably 100 coaches over 18 years that have coached their son or daughter, and it is such a special experience. But it's a little different to navigate.
It is.
Because they want to show you what they can do. How is it for you?
You know what? It's. I mean, like you said, it's difficult to navigate because especially for the kid, because they have to separate coach
Right.
and father, and that's hard. You know, especially when I'm barking at him. You know, no matter what, when I'm barking at him, I'm dad. I'm not coach, I'm dad.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just have myself, I'm like, listen, I have a great assistant coach, Coach Gum. I have a great staff. I tell Coach, man, he's yours.
Yeah.
You deal with him on this issue. This is what I need him to do. And I'll tell Coach to tell him that. And oh, yeah. If I tell him, all right. But if Coach Gum talks to him or one of my other coaches, Coach Taylor, Coach Meredith, then yeah, I can do that. So, you know, we're learning. And one thing we do is, unless he wants to talk about it, I leave basketball at basketball.
Yeah.
No matter what type of practice or game we've had, we get in the vehicle to ride home. Let's talk about what you want to eat. What else is going on?
Yeah.
As long as you keep those grades up, he's been great. He's 4.0 in all honors classes, and I tell him that means more to me than the basketball stuff.
Yeah, that's
and
fantastic.
he's got a chance to be pretty good in basketball. He's not there yet because he's growing like I did, so his body is just changing on him a lot.
Yeah.
So I think his best basketball is still ahead of him.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I got to ask you about this team, though. You got 4 guys that are scoring in double digits, Coach. You got height, you got speed.
Yeah.
You shot 54% from the 3 against Bowling Green. Chappelle lit it up.
Yeah.
You didn't even play him mostly in the second half.
No.
How do you tell those guys? We got a minute. How do you tell those guys? You played a great game, but don't expect 54% from the 3 every time.
But we know that. We know that going in. I mean, now we do shoot it pretty good as a team. We're shooting, I think, right around the 40%
Absolutely,
clip as a team. So that's really not abnormal. We've had games of 15 threes. Now we just made them. You're gonna have games like that. We got to hang our hat on our defense. And the funny thing about this group is, before the season started, I'm telling people, this is probably the best group I've ever had. Group. I'm not saying the top player. You know, Skylar Potter might not be in this group, but 1 through 9, 10, I haven't had a group as talented or better than this. And people didn't believe me at first. Now they're like, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. Because like you said, we have 4 guys, really 5 or 6 guys who could score double figures, and all those guys can play and rebound. And
Thank you, Coach, very much for joining me today. All right, well, Brian and I will wrap things up in the next segment. We'll be right back. More of the Sporting Times right here on WNKY NBC 40. Welcome back. I really enjoyed that interview with Coach Unseld. What a absolute fantastic coach. A great interview, Brian. He stepped into some pretty big shoes when Coach Riley departed Warren Central. But it's his team. It's been his team now for years and years. And, he had a shootout with Bowling Green, as we had mentioned during the interview, where they defeated Bowling Green. They shot 54% from 3-point. They made 13 threes in that game. But I'm telling you, the boys' 4th region is really going to be exciting because we're just beginning right now to see what's happening. But Warren Central, Bowling Green, Greenwood, Clinton County, so much to talk about. Let's talk about Clinton County real quick. They're 14 and 2. 14 and 2, right? They fly to Las Vegas to play in the tournament in Las Vegas, almost run the table. You can't say to Coach Messer, well, you only play 16 district teams, and they almost run the table there. They lose, I think, in the championship. But what about Clinton County? What's going on?
The next time I see Coach Todd Messer, I want to ask him to talk to Coach D. Spencer and talk to him about getting the Franklin Simpson guys to Las Vegas. I want to go to Las Vegas for a Christmas break and broadcast some games. I mean, who wants to go to here and there? We go to Las Vegas, baby.
Go to
Let's
Las
roll
Vegas.
to Vegas, baby. I'm ready to roll.
I mean, as volleyball teams do that a lot, but good for Coach Messer. Let's look at Warren Central for a second. They got four guys that are scoring in double digits right now. They have a 5th that is averaging 9.9 per game. Now listen, that game against Bowling Green, they didn't, when you think about Whitney for a second, Chappelle Whitney, he scores 29. Coach basically takes him out in the second half, but they don't typically shoot like that. But boy, was that a message or what?
It's a strong message, and I saw something like that during the I think it was like in May when they had like a little workouts or scrimmages games in Russellville when they put up 94 in Christian County in 2 15-minute halves. When that team is shooting from 3-point range and can click like that, good luck in beating that team.
Yeah.
Good luck in beating Dub C. I mean, that's just that's just it. I mean, that team is potentially can go. They can go. Oh, they can make a deep run at this.
They got 6'3" guards.
Yes.
Right? They go as high as 6'5". But, you know, Bowling Green is young. You got Turner Buttrey, the senior, that is averaging, I think, 24 points a game. But they're very, very young. I can't wait to see Bowling Green when we get into late February to see where they're at there. And, of course, we talked about Clinton County.
Who were still in the All-A's, by the way. They could win the All-A. They could win the All-A. They could.
I got to
Really
ask
good.
you a question, though. I'm curious about Todd County, who is 12-2 right now.
Yeah.
Out of the 13th district, are they for real?
We really don't know that because in their schedule, it's the way that Coach Steigle put it up, and of course he's a brand new coach.
Yeah.
He's trying to instill confidence in the guys, and I get that. But they've beaten Edmonson County twice and Foundation Christian Academy 3 times out of those 12 wins. So that's 5 of those 12 wins came from teams that not on that level.
Right. Strength of schedule.
But we will see, in district, and they did beat South Warren. They did beat South Warren beginning of the year, and I will give them that. They did. But we will see come district time when they play Franklin, Russellville, and Logan, how these guys react. And if that team is good enough, possibly to get the region tournament. We'll see what happens. But that's Todd is kind of, we don't know yet. That's kind of a shaky thing. We don't know yet.
I've got 2 more programs before we run out of time. I want to talk to you about Greenwood High School basketball, boys basketball team. They got 4 players in double digits. 2 of them, their last name is Stennett, but they're not even related, and it's spelled the same. How, right? Is that
I don't
not
know.
crazy?
That is crazy.
But
That is crazy.
Greenwood, 12-2 right now, is a team that's in that mix. We got a minute left. I want you to address Russellville. I think they're going to be a team that's going to contend. I don't think that they got their feet back underneath them from football. What do you say?
That's it right there. They're still trying to gel together. But as Carlos says, like even Coach Williams says sometimes, we'll be all right. Just wait till February. We'll be all right. We'll get together and wait and see what happens.
Well,
So,
Brian,
okay.
it has been a pleasure having you on for the 5th time. We got to go for 6 very soon. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Thank you, Coach William Unseld, for joining us today. And remember, you can visit stfanclub.com and watch a number of live basketball broadcasts anytime you want, and also it goes to on demand as well. You can watch it on Roku or Amazon Fire TV and also Facebook Live. For Doug Thompson and Brian Davis, have a fantastic week. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Good night.